Welcome to Post Fight with Ray Thompson. This show is powered by MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. For more interviews and podcasts, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. You can also follow MMA Crypt on Facebook and Twitter. It's at MMA Crypt on Twitter and MMA Crypt on Facebook. To follow me, it's at MMA Mental on Twitter and Ray Thompson on Facebook. I'm now joined by Neil Seery. Neil's coming off of a UFC victory, beating Phil Harris by unanimous decision, 30-27 on all scorecards at UFC Fight Night 46 in Dublin, taking his professional record to 14-10 and his UFC record to 1-1. Neil, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
And
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Congratulations on picking up your first UFC victory.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was one of them that I needed to get more than that now.
I mean, we're going to talk about it now, but it was fair to say you won by decision, but it doesn't really tell the story because it was a very, very one-sided fight, which we'll talk about. So going into the fight, what was your views on Phil Harris as an opponent?
He was dangerous opponents that going into the fight. It was just he can make you look bad or make you look good. You know, that his wrestling is his game is to wrestle you to the ground and ground and pound and just grind out a decision, you know. So he really can make you look like a bad fighter.
Now, you had faced Harris before and you'd lost by unanimous decision a few years ago at Bama. Did this affect your game plan at all?
Sorry?
Did this affect your game plan?
No, it actually just I got on with everything else, and like we sort of knew what he was going to do. You know, we knew that his boxing had improved a bit, but not to the next level. His ground game, his wrestling, and his ground game had improved a lot more. You know, so it was one of them that going into the fight that I just had to stay on my feet. You know, I just kept saying that to me on the way in, that I just had to stay on my feet. You know.
Now you had a great first round with excellent boxing, and you also dropped him in the first round as well. How pleased were you with the first round?
It was hard at the time when I watched it back to be actually pleased with the fight in general, you know, because he was on the back foot a lot from the word go. He came in and I think I threw one or two jabs and he come underneath and body clinched, and it was one of them. I had to get rid of that body clinch as soon as possible. You know, I needed to get back out to that centre. You know, I had an awful habit before of putting me back on the fence and then defending takedowns. You know, so I needed to break away there quick and then get back out to the centre of the ring. You know, but I put him on the back foot a lot, and it was hard to get shots off. You know.
Now, Harris was really struggling with your striking and he kept throwing big single punches. How wary were you of being caught by one of these punches?
No, not really. I knew like I was a good chin, you know. I've been caught by a lot of boxers. I trained with a hell of a lot of boxers, so I wasn't really worried about his power. I know, like, if one shot hit you on the chin, it could actually put you on your arse, you know. But I wasn't really concerned about his hands. I was more concerned about his body clinch and his takedowns. That's what was sort of worrying me at the time, you know.
Now, you continued to pressure Harris in the second round, and Harris was unable to get off very little offence. Were you surprised at how one-sided the fight had been up to that point?
Yeah, it was the fact that I think we went into a little bit of panic mode after I shoved his takedowns a few times. You know, he went into panic mode. His game got a little bit sloppy. His hand seemed to he was throwing one punch and then shooting. I could actually see them coming. You know, that when he was more falling to his knees on his takedowns and stuff. You know, so he started getting a lot sloppy as the fight went on. You know.
Yeah, he did. You're right. I mean, he didn't have an answer really for what you were throwing at him. Now you cruised in round 3 as well, and Harris never really threatened. How nice was it for you to avenge your loss that you had to Phil Harris?
Yeah, well, it was good. It wasn't one of of them that I want to avenge the loss. I just wanted to win in the UFC, you know, like that was more on my mind than actually avenging the loss to Phil. I was been in contact with Phil before the fight or when he was in the UFC, and I actually liked Phil, you know, he's a good lad. So it was none of that shit of wanted to avenge the loss. It was more or less, I need to win to keep my job, and I thought that it was the same for Phil, you know. So it was one of them that we had to just push everything aside, and then just get in there and fight.
Now, you were fighting in your hometown of Dublin. What was it like fighting on the big stage in Dublin?
It was unbelievable, you know. It was one of them what dreams are made of there, you know. I said to a few people before the fight, you're actually not gonna realise how noisy it is when you actually get out there, you know. Like, people were saying, it won't be too bad, this, that, and the other, you know. But when I got in there, it was just from the first fight, you know, when I seen Paddy Houlihan win, and then the Cottles fight, and I knew it was next. It was more nerve wracking than anything else. Looking at that crowd, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I was there in the arena as well. I've never seen anything like it. I've been to a lot of UFC events. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Now, the atmosphere was amazing. The home fighters went 6-0. Obviously, there was, you know, four Southern Irish guys. There was Gunny Nelson, of course, who trains in Ireland, and then you had Norman Park from Northern Ireland as well. 6-0. How much did the crowd help you all achieve that, do you think?
A lot. Like, it was one of them that you had the crowd behind you, no matter what, you know. It's just hard to explain, you know. I don't think in martial arts or in MMA in Ireland you'll actually see anything like that again, you know. I don't think you'll see that you'll have that many Irish fighters on one card if the UFC come back to Ireland. So I don't think you'll ever live anything like that again, you know. And they really did drag us through the fights, you know, and it was unbelievable.
I mean, I know you fought a lot of times. You fought all over, especially all over the UK and Ireland. Have you ever experienced a crowd like that before?
No, never. When I fought in London against Brad Pickett, I know there was double the amount of people there, but it's just because the O2 was so on top of the cage. It's the atmosphere seems like there's 50,000 people there. You know, it's just unbelievable. It's a night to remember, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was absolutely mind-blowing. Now, you took your first UFC fight on short notice. What was it like having a full camp behind you and getting your first UFC win?
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know, it was one of them that I knew about the fight. I think it was like 10 weeks out, and the Brad Pickett was only 3. So the buzz up to the fight when I was fighting Brad Pickett, it was there and it was gone in such a quick time. You know, you didn't get to lap it up. You know, but this one now, to actually enjoy the training and then the build up to the fight, and then to get in there and see the atmosphere, I don't think I'll ever live that again. You know.
Now, you're now 1-1 in the UFC. Have you got any ideas on who you'd like to fight next, and when would you like to get in and fight again?
There's that many in the. I think the flyweight division now is after building up a good roster of fighters now. I think they've nearly 40 at the age, you know. So I enjoy getting in there and testing myself against the best, you know, the good strikers, the good people that are willing to come out and fight. Scott Jorgensen is one that comes to mind. He's a really well-rounded striker. He's a good wrestler. I know John Lineker, I watched his fight on Wednesday night in the UFC, the unbelievable fight there, you know. So they're the people that, I don't know if I'm ready for them now, but they're the people that I aim to get up there and try fight, because their fighting style is unbelievable, you know.
Ideally, when would you like to get in and fight, Neil?
I'd love to fight again before the year's out, you know, but I'd love to get another fight in probably around October, you know. I'd love to fight again this year.
Well, I really appreciate you giving me your time, and congratulations on picking up your first UFC victory.
Thanks a lot.
And before we let you go, I just want to give you a chance to do some shout-outs. So anyone you want to thank, and also shout out your Facebook and your Twitter.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out at everybody at Team Rhino, all the lads that helped me out. To me, and the Celtic Warrior Gym in Blanchardstown, Paggy Hoyland, Stephen Ormond, all them lads over there in the boxing club. And if anybody wants to follow me or get me on Facebook, Neil Seery, and else on Twitter is Neil Seery MMA. Thanks a lot.
I look forward to seeing you step back in the cage again, Neil.